Okay, let's get into automation a little bit. Seems to be a confusing point for a lot of people. I think it's the extra two modes which seem to throw everybody off, but let's get into this. Let's work our way through it. I'll go over all five modes, and then we'll get into some panning automation, and then we'll get into automating effects and stuff like that. Well, let's start off. I think I'm going to start off by first of all making my volume envelope active, visible, and I'm going to arm it, which means it'll read it. And I'm going to start. With write mode because I think that's probably the easiest mode to get a grasp on what's going on here. So I'm going to change it to write mode, and again, I'm just going right there. And let's see what write mode does. This yellow line here represents our envelope. You can see right now if I move the fader up and down in write mode, it moves that line up and down. Across the center here would be your 0, and then coming down would be, all the way off. Now we're at 0, and now we're all the way up. Okay, the fader is controlling that. Okay, so let's say this is just a basic guitar track. Let's say we've got the level set right here. And as we go through our mix, there's certain points where we want the guitar to be a little bit louder, and then we want it to go back to its original volume. So if we kind of keep in mind that the volume's at 2.5, let's go ahead and see how write mode works. So let's hit play here, keeping in mind that we're in write mode. Okay, now I'm going to move the fader up, and then I'm going to move it back down, and then I'm going to put it back right around 2.5. Okay, and you can see it's kind of bulldozing through. It's wherever this fader's at is what it's going to write to the track. Okay. Now that we've written this using the fader, if we go ahead and hit play now, what's going to happen is it's just going to bulldoze through until we touch it. And then wherever we leave it, it's just going to keep bulldozing along. Okay. I don't really like to use write mode. It's kind of tricky to get it all set up right. There's better ways of doing it, but that in a nutshell is write mode. Now once you're done with write mode, you have to switch back into read mode in order to get it to read the envelope that you've created. Okay, so let's take a look at what happens when we switch into read mode. You can see watch the fader here, and it'll follow the envelope. Okay, so that's how a majority of the DAWs work. You've got your basic read and write mode, and then you'll sometimes have a touch mode, which we also have in Reaper. So that's write mode, and again, once you're done with write mode and you've got the change that you want, you've got to switch to read mode. Otherwise, that thing's just going to bulldoze right through, and it's going to erase all the automation you've done up to that point. So that's kind of the downside to write mode. Okay. Let's go ahead. If you right click on a point here, we can select all the points, and we'll get into this manual editing a little bit later. That's really the way I like to do it, but we'll select all points and then we'll just delete them. I'm hitting the delete key, and now we're back to ground zero again. Okay, let's go into another mode now, what they call latch mode. And latch mode is different from write mode in that it's not going to record any of the changes we make to the fader until we touch it. And once we touch it, then it turns into write mode and just starts bulldozing, just like write mode does. Alright, so let's take a quick look. Let's first make some changes with it to the envelope. Then we'll rewind it, and then we'll watch how it reacts and learn how to use it. Okay? So I'm going to turn it down. You can see it's recording what I'm doing. And then when I let it go, it stays right where it's at and turns into bulldozer mode. Turns into write mode. Okay. Now, how this is different from write mode is now when we play it, you'll see the fader moves up and down, and it'll follow what we've already done until we touch it. Okay, and then it turns into bulldozer write mode again. Okay. Okay, so that's latch mode. You can go ahead and right click on a point again and select all points, and I'll just delete them again. Let's get into touch mode, which is, I think, if you're gonna be playing with the faders, touch mode would probably be the mode that you would use. It's the least destructive, and I think the easiest to use out of all the ones where you're actually touching a fader. So let's take a look at touch mode. Again, you're controlling, we're looking up here, we're controlling the envelope with the fader. Okay, now let's see how touch mode works. Real easy here. Let's turn it down so we can get a good look at it. Okay, I've hit play and we're moving along, and we say, oh, I want right here, I want it turned up. And I'm done. Okay, and I hope you're hearing the mouse clicks, but as I was going along, I took control of the fader and I left it up for a while, and then right at this point I let the mouse go and it went back to the original starting point. And that's different from latch mode in that when you let go, that's it, you're done recording in touch mode. Okay, as soon as you let go of this fader, okay, it stops recording. See that? And it reads what's already there and doesn't alter